What's up, everybody? It's Matt from the house, and in this video we're going to show you a few of our favorite park boards for the 22-23 season. Let's check these out. All right, first up we have the Burton Good Company. So new board this year, kind of replaced the Kilroy Twin from the past, but definitely a super fun board for just mobbing the park all day long. It's a traditional cambered board, so we just have that camber that goes from contact point to contact point. So a nice and snappy and lively feel. Biax fiberglass, so it has a nice, easy, soft feel, but still has a lot of pop and a lot of return with that camber. Nice thing that's cool about this one is it actually does have a centered base on it. Sometimes boards at this price range actually have more of an extruded base, but this thing's gonna have a little bit of that harder base, a little bit faster, a little bit easier to repair. Also, the graphic on this thing is pretty cool. This Good Company with all the dogs playing poker. It also ties back to the mission binding with the wing on it. All right, next up, a board that I don't think anyone saw coming, me included, the Jones Tweaker. Obviously, when you think about Jones, you think more of that all-mountain free ride and getting into the POW, getting into the backcountry style things, but Jones knows how to build a board. And they wanted to do something that was definitely more park friendly and more park focused, but still all mountain capabilities. So obviously we've got a super cool shape on this thing with the really blunted noses and that big kick. It is a traditional cambered board from contact point to contact point, so really lively, springy feel. It does have a biax fiberglass, so it has a nice easy feel too. It's not gonna feel like something that's gonna be dead underneath your feet, but it is gonna have that nice easy feel, especially when you're coming off of rails and you land and the board's not gonna take off on you. They're doing a centered base on this thing, so it's nice and fast. And it also has that 3D contour up in the nose and tail, so you get a little bit more of that catch-free feel. And if you do get this thing outside of the park and into some deeper snow, it is gonna actually wanna make the nose and tail float a little bit better. And then if that wasn't enough, we also have the traction tech. So this thing actually wants to carve like crazy too. But obviously this is an insane park board, but it handles itself outside of the park as well. So a classic board every single year, and still one of our favorites, we have the Arbor Draft. This thing does come in rocker and camber versions, depending on if you want that little bit more aggressive feel or if you want that little easier catch-free feel of the rocker. They're still doing a biaxial fiberglass in this thing, so it has a nice, soft, easy feel, but still tons of spring and pop. And we're doing that centered base, so this thing is nice and fast and able to keep speed no matter where you're riding in the park. And obviously this board rides amazing, and it also looks amazing. This year they did that collaboration with Boss Dog, the Venice artist, and this actually ties back to one of their hemlock bindings as well. Next up we have the Chamonix Jesse Paul Pro Model deck. So new board this year. We basically took a shape that he liked and kind of souped it up and made it his own for his super creative riding style. It's a twin tip board. We got those fun little swallows in the nose and tail, which are really just there kind of for a fun look, but they actually do get rid of a little bit of the swing weight on the board. We have a slight camber in the middle to a rocker in the nose and tail, so you get a little bit more power, a little bit more pop, but we also get that lift in the nose and tail to give you a little bit more catch-free feel. Just makes for an overall very stable deck that doesn't feel dead underneath your feet. And then in addition to that, we actually have a biax fiberglass in this thing for a nice, easy, smooth feel. And then they do these carbon stringers through the entire board, so you still get a lot of pop, a lot of snap, and a lot of stability without actually having to stiffen the board up. And then on the bottom of this thing to get you from feature to feature, we got a nice centered base to keep the board super fast. All right, and then next up we have the Public Disorder. This is Joe Sexton's Pro Model board. And I have to say, I rode this thing at the Test Fest and I was really impressed with it. They only had a 52, but I really wanted to try it out, and we were riding park that day and I figured, what the heck? I was really impressed with actually how much snap and pop it had, especially considering I weighed way too much for a 152. I still would probably go with a little bit bigger board myself for mobbing the park all day long, but again, just kind of attests to how good this board is. So it is a little bit of a soft medium flex, so it has that nice easy feel, real easy to press, real easy in and out of your turns, but they do actually have that light camber. Joe likes to have that extra little bit of power in between your feet, but not a ton of it, just so it has a little bit more stability. And then in addition to that, we've got the urethane sidewalls, which are basically doing two things. They help reduce the chatter, reduce the vibration, so when you're carving, you get a little bit better edge hold, but also when you're hitting boxes and rails, every time you land on it, if you come down a little hard, it can actually give a little bit, as opposed to a more solid plastic sidewall. So one, you get a better flex, and two, your edges last a little bit longer. And then on the bottom of this thing, doing a sintered base, so it's super, super fast. And then inside, giving it most of its power, we've got a biax fiberglass, which does give it some snap and pop, but it does tend to leave it a little bit smoother and easier feeling, especially in and out of your turns, but also off of jumps and on landings. It sets you down really, really easy. But then we've got some carbon stringers in there giving you extra pop and extra snap, so you get that extra zing of a stiffer board, but again, you can have that nice, soft, easy feel of a softer board. All right, and last up, we have the Salomon Abstract. So super rad looking board this year, graphics by Desiree Melanson. And this board has actually replaced the Villain. This is actually a pretty big board this year because the Villain has been around for many, many years, but they had a new shape, they had a new construction, and basically came up with something to replace the Villain, which says a ton about this board. So this thing does have a wide size range for a wide variety of riders. It has their flat to camber with a little bit of rocker in the nose and tail, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get that super springy feel of the camber, but you still get that nice catch-free, easy feel up in the nose and tail. It does have a mixed glass inside, so we do have biaxial and triaxial, so we're kind of giving it a little bit more spring, a little bit more pop, a little bit more liveliness, and that also helps it ride outside of the park as well. In addition to that fiberglass, they're also doing the ghost stringers for that extra spring and pop, and they're also doing those royal rubber sidewalls, which is pretty cool. It's this basically rubber that's just underneath the sidewall to one, help with vibration, but also to help when you're hitting rails and stuff to actually give a little bit so you're not cracking your edges. And then of course we got a sintered base on the bottom of this thing, keeping it nice and fast. All right, well, thanks for checking out a few of our favorite park boards for the 22-23 season. Obviously, we've got a wide selection of amazing boards for Ride and Park on the website. And if you got any questions about these boards or any of the other boards, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we get you into some rad gear, but most importantly, we want to make sure that's actually going to fit you and it's going to fit your riding style. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. Grab yourself a new park board and get out and ride, because any day of riding is a good day of riding.